to see you all. So last week, we launched a brand new segment called What's Your Story? Everyone say, what's your story? I love it. It's so sassy. And it's basically an opportunity for you guys to come up here and share your story and what's going on in your life. Today we're going to kick it off. I've got a very special friend of mine coming up here, and she's got something that she'd like to share with you all. So make her welcome. Here's Geordie. Here she comes. Here you go. Have a mic. I don't know if it's on or not.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Sit on a stool.
I feel
How
like
are
really
you today?
important sitting up on this stool.
I know, right? It's great. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How long have you been going to INY? Ballpark figure.
Ooh, I definitely started coming, like my first time was definitely in 2012. So probably, 8.5 years. Long time.
Wow. Yeah. And how old are you now?
I'm 20.
Wow. Well, you look great.
Thanks. That's really nice.
You're 20 years old. So you came out of the youthy part of INY.
I did, yes.
In how many years ago?
2018.
2018.
2 years ago.
Very nice. So what was that kind of transition period like for you out of school?
Best day of my life. School's great, but leaving school was a big milestone for me. Like, I definitely felt like I excelled a lot more in the workforce. Like, I was working and stuff while I was at school, and I definitely felt like I excelled heaps more in the workforce than I did at school. So in terms of transitioning out of school, best thing ever. But it was also really scary because I had like no idea what I was going to do with my life.
No idea. Can anyone else relate to that feeling of having no idea what you want to do after school? I mean, I'm out of school.
You're not alone, people.
Yeah. Was there anything that you were sort of like, how were you in God during that period?
In my final year of school, I felt like I had made an effort, like a big effort, to really keep God as involved in my walk as much as possible, because I didn't want to finish school and look back and be like, oh, that was really great, but where was God in all of that? So I felt like, and because I was going to St. Mary's Senior High, and there's a very large variety of people from all different walks of life, and so that actually strengthened my faith, which was really, really awesome. But leaving school and that transition period of like, what the heck am I doing with myself? That was really, really scary. And I definitely will say there were moments where I didn't trust God, and I saw the effects of that in my life, and I was like really emotional, really, honestly, I was genuinely terrified. But then there were times where I did trust God, and I just took a step into something that I thought God had opened a door for me, so I just stepped through it, and it turned out to, it all worked out for good, and that's what the Bible says, is that God uses everything for good for those that, love him. And so there were times where I didn't, there were times where I did, and I definitely saw the vast difference in my life. Yeah.
Can you tell me about a time where you felt God open a door and you took that leap?
Yeah. The most distinct one I can remember was, it was last year, and funny because tonight is a missions night. We're going to be talking about missions, but this story is actually related to missions. So every year we take up what we call a faith promise, which is just between me and God, or you and God, I decided in my heart how much I felt like I wanted to give to missions, either every week or every month or every year or whatever. And I'd made a decision, and the whole point is that you make a choice that's going to stretch you, something that's a little bit out of your depth. And so I did that. I had said, this is how much I'm going to put aside every week. But at the time, I was working just a job that was your regular wage for, the age I was at. And to pull off this faith promise was posing difficult because it was a big chunk out of my pay. And I remember my mum, bless her heart, my mum said to me, she saw how much I was giving every week, and she goes, that's a lot of money. And I was like, yeah, it is. And she was like, how are you paying for that? And I literally, also, you have to understand, my mum has had me on a budget since I was 14. So it's like saving has been ingrained into me. So spending big chunks of money is just not something that I've always done. And so she was like, so how are you paying for this? And I was like, honestly, Mum, I have no idea. I was like, I'm just trusting that God is going to do something in my life that is going to allow me to achieve this promise that I've made. And it was so cool because that would have been in like June last year. And then about 3 weeks later, I got approached. I was actually standing in the back corner over there and I received a text message from a lady who I know. She's actually my employer now, but I received a text message and it said, hi, Jordan. I used to work for her years ago, but she said, hi, Jordan. I was wondering if I can call you sometime tomorrow. I just have something I want to ask you. And I'm thinking, that's so weird, like so weird. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. You can call me like at this time. She was like, okay. Anyway, she called me, cut a long story short, she offered me a 4-day position. And that particular position offered me double and a half more than what I was currently earning in the job I was in.
So you had enough to pay for
I had
the faith
enough
promise.
to pay for the faith promise that I'd made, plus more. And I was like, I don't know if it was like God was like rewarding me, but it was like, I just felt like it was God kind of just going, hey, it's all good. Like, I've got you. You don't need to worry. And so like by me putting my trust in God like that, and he came through. Like, and that's the thing is I know that he would, but just seeing it actually happen in front of you is really like, oh, nah, God's got my back. And so that was a really big blessing for me. And that was a very distinct moment in my life where I remember God doing something really awesome.
Yeah, cool. So why do you think that God asks us to do difficult things? Why does he stretch us like that? Why does he make us, why do we feel uncomfortable sometimes in our walk with God?
That's such a big question. Like,
Sorry if I've...
like why, like it's just the same as like why do we go through hard things? Like why does life suck sometimes? I don't, like honestly, I don't necessarily know like why things are the way that they are, but I genuinely believe, like with all of my heart, that it's the difficulties and the stretching that we go through, whether that's, you know, you're going through a period of time where, you know, you've got some serious family issues, or you don't have a job and you're struggling to find one, or you've got a job and you're trying to pay for things and it's hard, you know, and you just don't have what you need to necessarily get by in a way that feels comfortable. I am convinced, like, nobody can unconvince me that those things are put there to grow us. I believe that every difficult thing that comes up in our life is an opportunity for growth. And I know that sounds so flipping cliche, but when you actually live through it, like especially when you start to leave school and you have more responsibility, like paying for a car or buying a house or an apartment or getting married, or, you know, whenever that is for you, or even if it's just, I'm going to step out and get a job, my first job. I don't know where you're at in your walk, but those things, they're not, I don't believe that everything is supposed to be easy, because if everything was easy, we would never develop, we would never grow.
And we wouldn't need God.
That's right. We wouldn't need God. If things were always just comfortable, then we'd be sweet. But that's not the point. Like I genuinely believe that, you know, God might not be like, hey, I'm just going to drop this bomb on you and like, good luck, you know. Yeah. But I don't necessarily believe that he pulls us out of our difficult times. I genuinely believe that he walks with us in those times. But at least for me, difficulties remind me how much I need God. Yeah. Like those moments remind me how desperately I literally just don't want to do this life without God. And so I think, yeah, difficulties are a reminder, at least for me, they're a reminder of how important it is that I have God in my life. And I would encourage you in that same thing. Difficulties, look to God. You know, having friend problems, look to God, because God will never like be the one that lets you down. The world will continue to, but God never does. So
yeah, great. Thanks, Geordie.
All good.
Can everyone give a round of applause? Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You can take your seat.
Thank you.
And I'll just encourage you guys again, if you guys feel like you have a story on your heart that you think people would benefit from hearing, then talk to your Connect leader, or talk to me, or talk to whoever, a leader, and we can get that happening, because everybody in this room, I can guarantee, has a story to share, and everybody in this room has the power to change the world with their story, okay? So I'm welcoming Matt up now.
Yep.
Thanks,
Bam.
guys.
All right. Yeah, good. Give it up for Trinity and Geordie again.